Welcome to the show today. I'm very excited. We have Rose Sexsmith. She won the Woman of the Year for the City of Kelowna. There's so much we can talk about. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but welcome, Rose.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm excited to chat. There's seriously so much you do in town. I don't even know where to start.
I've been around for a long time.
I didn't say that. I just said there's so much you do. So what's one of the favorite things you're working on right now?
Well, my newest thing is 100 Women Who Care.
It sounds great already.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually, we call it 100 plus Women Who Care.
Okay.
And want me to tell you about it?
I would love to. Everybody would love to hear about it. That's why you're here?
Yeah. So it was started by a couple of women in Idaho, I think.
Okay.
And like me, they were walking around saying there's got to be an easier way to raise money for
charities.
For charities.
Okay.
And so they came up with this idea of getting 100 women who would commit to meeting 4 times a year.
Okay.
And what they do is they're committing. They're everywhere else they commit to $100 4 times a year.
Okay.
Here we thought $50 4 times a year is what is and we thought that's what And so anyway, they commit to meeting 4 times a year and donating $50 each time.
Okay.
And so what we do is we meet, and everybody throws in a name of a charity that they want us all to support.
Yeah.
We draw 3 names, and those 3 people have 5 minutes each to talk about their charity. Yeah, and then everybody votes. And so we've already had our meeting, our first meeting, and the names that were drawn were the Katani Cultural Center in Vernon.
Okay.
And we want to keep it local. So anyway, we had our first meeting, and the Katani Cultural Center in Vernon was one of the names that was drawn. The Inn from the Cold was drawn, and the Kelowna Women's Shelter was drawn. And Kelowna Women's Shelter won, but Inn from the Cold was only like so few votes behind.
Well, there's so many good projects
yes,
in town.
There are. Yeah.
So for 4 times a year, it's going to be tough to pick every time. I think.
And then every time, like now, for the next year, Kelowna Women's Shelter won't be able to be drawn.
That makes sense, yeah. So here's why you're here, because you rock.
Yeah.
That's, the Woman of the Year award, which you recently won, and congratulations.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool to get that honor, but well deserved from what you're telling me right now. It fits. So I'm glad you won.
Thank you, honey. You know what, Ryan? I'm telling you this with all my heart, I'm like a representative for a lot of people.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
I'm not, I do my part, but there's no way I could do anything alone. And there's a lot of wonderful people, through how we got to here is I had this foundation called Wild Woman, Wise Woman.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, that I started as meeting up with my friends.
Yeah.
But first year it was like, hey, let's all get, because we'd run into each other. Let's have a tea, let's have a coffee, let's have a glass of wine, go for a walk. And
in the Okanagan, of course, it kind of fits all
that's right. So, and then one day I thought, all these times I tell people, we're gonna catch up, catch up. I'm just gonna pick a day and we'll all catch up together. And so we did.
Yeah. And
there was probably about 60 of us. And then it was at my restaurant, and it was just fun. It was very casual. But Ryan, you get a bunch of women together, and a party turns into a fundraiser in one way or another.
Oh, interesting.
So the next year it was like, I think there was a guy in Lake Country that had got his arm ripped off by a dog or something. I don't remember the whole story, but it was somebody that said, hey, let's make this year, let's make it a little fundraiser for this fella.
Okay.
So we did. And then the next year it grew into something else.
So how many years did you, was it 10 years?
10 years. We just had our 10. Yeah.
That's what I heard. So again, another cool project.
Mm-hmm.
And so
lots of work.
Well, that's why you have lots of people around you that have a common vision, right?
Yeah.
And so let's jump back to you mentioned you mentioned my restaurant.
Yes.
Most people in town don't have a restaurant or pub with their name in bright neon lights kind of thing. So that's pretty cool.
I know.
It is named after you, right?
It is.
And was that the first one that was named after you, or I heard perhaps there's another one that was?
No, our first history. Moving to Kelowna. We moved to Kelowna in 1978.
Okay.
And from Calgary, and I was a waitress. That's what I did in Calgary.
Okay.
And we moved here, and I got a job at the Packing House Pub in Rutland, and which was really different from the place that I worked at in Calgary. and it was like shockingly different. And so anyway, it took me a couple of times, but I ended up staying there for 11 years.
Okay.
And I have met the most wonderful people that are still my good friends.
Yeah.
And it was my foundation, part of my foundation of coming to Kelowna.
And you didn't go straight from there to Roses, which I thought.
Yeah, no. In 1989, we bought with one of my brothers and another guy. We bought McCullough on the Mountain up at Big White.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to come up with names and everything, and this guy walks in one day that I knew from the packing house. He was a customer there, and he walks in and he goes, "Here's to Roses on the Ridge," because it was out, they were actually putting in the Ridge chair. That's the same time, and so
it's called Roses on the Ridge.
Yeah, and so we were like, "Yeah, Roses on the Ridge." So we had Roses on the Ridge until we bought it in 1989, and then in 1993 we opened Roses downtown here, Roses Waterfront Pub. And then my restaurant is upstairs above Roses, and when we opened it in 1994, it was called Coyotes.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, about 7 years ago now, maybe, something like that, we closed it, renovated it, and reopened it as Hannah's.
So now who's Hannah?
My brother, who's one of my business partners, that's his last name, so my maiden name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you've got the Roses in Hannah. There's got to be a story about
that's my maiden name. And my brother's last name, of course.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so, tons of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, is there a need still for people to sign up for the 100?
Oh,
like what's the way it can be?
always. We welcome everybody. Yeah. I think I was just thinking about this the other day or today or something, but that maybe the reason why they most of the chapters close it off at 100 is because it makes it a little more elite or something.
Okay.
But
so what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I want.
Not so elite.
Nah.
Yeah,
I like, you know what? Come on. That's funny because I just thought of a Rose's story when we first opened. We were first going to open.
Yeah.
This guy said to me, this Roses downtown.
Yeah.
He said, Rose, you're going to have to you should put in a dress code for this. Don't let people come in jeans and hats. And I said, are you crazy? And I said, I want, can I swear? A little bit
You can do whatever you want.
It's not really a swear, but what I said to the guy was, I want everybody but assholes. Like,
so not a dress policy, but a person policy.
No, you are welcome. As long as
person.
Exactly. You are so welcome. So no, I don't want you to go home and get out of your jeans and before you can come to Roses. No, and so anyway, same with this.
Yeah.
And at $50 4 times a year, it makes it a lot easier for a lot more people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, Ryan, just really want to do their part. So I've had a couple of gals. We had a couple of gals that got a hold of us and said, I can't afford to do this, but I really want to do something. Can I work at the registration desk? Can I do something that absolutely, because I think
want to find a way to connect them.
Yeah, and just to feel like they're doing their part in the scheme of things, just helping out, whatever. And I love that.
That's good. Now you've obviously been in the Oak Island for a while, and I hear you've got a bed and breakfast as well as other stuff.
Yeah.
So you're hosting tourists all the time. So how is that?
Well, not so much. Not really. No, my bed and breakfast. I call it the Peace Rose, by the way.
The Peace Rose.
Yes.
Gotta sneak that rose in there somewhere.
Yes, of course. You have to. That's another story.
There's lots of them.
But I have to tell you my Peace Rose story. Okay, are we finished with 100 Women Who Care? Because I think I'm really bad at, there's a butterfly. Okay, so I split up with my husband, and I know that was 1999, so it was a long time ago. So I was thinking, roommate, no. And then it was like God whispered, bed and breakfast. So I picked up the phone, phoned the city, and I said, what do I have to do to get a bed and breakfast license? Yeah. And the gal said, what's your address? And so I told her, and she said, you're zoned, just come on in and get your license.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's really easy.
I know. So, I know. So I went in the next day or that day or something, and it was like $23. Paid for my business license for my. Oh, so she says to me, "What's the name of your bed and breakfast?"
And you hadn't thought of it.
I hadn't thought of it.
You just walked in going, "That's easy."
Yeah, I was just going to get my business license. I didn't think about the name.
You need actually a business name.
Exactly. So I'm like, and I had just been at a friend's place, and she had this beautiful rose garden, and this one rose was like this big, and it was fragrant, and it was pink. Pink with yellow.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it was beautiful.
You can make it up.
It's got,
really pick any color you want, and we'll believe you.
Yeah.
We're going to believe every word you say.
So it's got like tons and tons of petals, and it's beautiful and fragrant. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's that? And she said, oh, it's called a peace rose. And so I'm like, cool. And so when this gal said to me, what's the name of your bed and breakfast? That's what came to my head. So I said, Peace Rose, B&B. And she said, all right. So that night, swear to God, that night I met some of my younger friends for dinner at a restaurant. Okay. And they were going to go to, after dinner, they said, let's go over to this place, a secondhand place. And they said, because they're having a half price sale tomorrow, and it's like, we'll get there just before they close, we'll find what we want, we'll stash it somewhere so we can get there first thing in the morning and get our stuff for half price.
Totally.
So they all have little kids and stuff, and so I walk in and I go directly to the bookshelf. And I walk up and I see Rose. And so I pull out this book. It is called The Story of the Creation of the Famous Peace Rose.
Nice. Which was what?
Okay.
Which was
the day the World War II. Okay, just before World War II started, there's in France they had created this rose. Okay. And so then the war broke out, so they had to shelf it before sending it off to the rest of the world.
They came out with a peace rose in the middle of a war, or maybe it's better.
Well, it wasn't called the peace rose before they. Anyway, it was just before the war. They created this, or whatever created this rose, and then the war broke out. So they kind of shelved the rose.
Yeah.
And the day that the war ended, they put they named it Peace, and they put a rose in each one of the diplomats' rooms. Okay. On the day that the World War
II ended.
And
that's why it's called Peace Rose.
And that's why they named it Peace.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that's why they named it Peace. So I love the story.
Yeah.
I love that, we always have to, never let us forget with the poppy.
Yeah.
But also, like, to me, I would love the Peace Rose to be as thought of as much as the poppy because, I know the poppy, I have deep respect. Yeah. But I just love the fact that there is something called peace.
And that seems your style. So.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people will get to know you a little bit more. So thank you.
Thank you,
Very
Ryan.
cool projects. Very worthwhile. And I'm thankful that you moved to this town in 1978 or
yes.
Right? 1978. It's like that's a gift you've given. You've given your time. So I'm curious to see what next is going to be called Rose. So we'll see what that is. I don't know what it might be, but I think it might be one more thing called Rose.
It is already written.
It is already written?
It is already written. Whatever it is, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. Good. Hey.
I think it'll be good.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Take care.
You too.
100 Women Who Care. Really simple. Go research it. And maybe you should start 100 Guys Who Care.